Okay, good morning, everyone. Hope you're having a good week so far, good day so far. Nice to see all of you back this cold but beautiful day. We are currently in the middle of Monday, so we will do a Rashi from the second Aliyah. Great Rashi today. So we're in the midst of Parshas Vayeshev, a whole new storyline. Really, we had a couple of weeks of the same kind of storyline, Yaakov's exit from Israel, Yaakov's return to Israel, Lavan's house, many different incidents within that larger story, but really it kind of is one story. And now we transition to a new story, which is Vayeshev, Yaakov's return to the land, and really the story of Yosef begins. Begins with Yosef's dreams, but eventually Yosef's descent. Really, Yosef takes the prime role or center stage for the rest of Sefer Bereshit. So right here in the beginning of the story, in the second Aliyah, we see, of course, the postscript of the dreams. Yosef doesn't really get along with his brothers too well. Yosef has his dreams. They increase their hatred. And his brothers go to shepherd their father's flock in Shechem. And now Yosef is sent by his father to go check on him. Vayomer Yisrael Yosef, halo achecha ro'im b'Shechem, lecha ve'ashlachacha lehem. Yisrael, interestingly, his name here is Yisrael as opposed to Yaakov. Yisrael says to Yosef, your brothers are all with my flocks in Shechem. Go, I'm going to send you over there to them. And it doesn't say exactly what he's sending him for until the next pasuk, where he says, Lech na'ured shlom achecha ve'et shlom hatzon v'hashivenu davar. So his mission was to see whether they were okay, to see whether the tzon was okay. Who knows what was behind that mission, but that's at least in the plain sense of the word. V'hishivani davar, and bring it back to me. Tell me what's going on there. So he was supposed to be a messenger of some sort, a conduit of some sort, checking in on them, bringing the report back to Yaakov. But what I'm interested in is Yosef's response. Vayomer lo hineni. Yosef says to him, hineni, here I am. And of course, Rashi comments on hineni here, just as he does in many other instances of hineni. And he says hineni, which literally means here I am. Hine ani, hineni. Here I am, I'm ready, so to speak, is lashon anava vizrizus. It's the language of humility and alacrity. Now, alacrity, I understand. Zrizus, hineni, yes, I'm here, I'm ready to go. Just send me, go, like I'm there. Okay, so that's lashon zrizus. But what does anava have to do with it? What does humility have to do with zrizus, with the alacrity of going to do something? Well, Rashi very beautifully explains here, just as he does in other places. Nizdarez limtzo aviv, limitzos aviv, afa pi shehaya yodea be'echav shesonimoso. Why is the alacrity here tinged with humility? Because the mission he was being sent on by his father was not one that he wanted to fulfill. It's not one that he wanted to go on. It's not one that was going to be pleasant for him, as we see from the way the rest of the story ends up. It's not something that's going to be good for him or comfortable for him. And yet, despite that, he shows alacrity of, hineni, I'm here, I'm ready to go, Dad. Whatever you tell me to do, wherever you send me, I'm going. Well, that takes a gigantic measure of humility. Humility to be able to say, there are moments when I'm asked to do something. There are moments when I'm asked to rise to greatness. There are moments when I'm asked to fulfill some larger goal in life that's beyond myself, where I have to put myself aside, where I have to put myself in second place as opposed to first place. I have to put the I aside for the we, or for the he, or for the she, or for the it, for whatever that larger, grander purpose is. That's what hineni really means. Hineni, of course, in literal sense, means hineani, here I am. But it's not like, oh, here I am, yeah, whatever you want me to do. But hineni, yes, I'm here, even though I'm not excited, even though this is not good for me, which is why it's both lashon anava vizrizus. In these cases, it's the anava, it's the humility of being able to put yourself aside and secondary, which allows for the zrizus, for the alacrity to come to the fore. And the reason I think this is interesting is because, of course, this is not the first hineni in the Torah. They have this wonderful feature on this website, Al HaTorah. I really have to thank all of you for really making use of this website, because I use, very rarely use Sefaria. I usually use the Bar Ilan, database. But for presentation purposes, for this Rashi a day, I found this to be a great website, and I've learned there's so many wonderful tools in it. So thank you all for getting me to use it. But if you they have a concordance tool as well, which is really great. You can check off all the different forms of the word that you want to look up, and it brings it up for you in a list. So if you take a look here at all the hinenis, it's really interesting what emerges. That Avram used hineni, Actually, he uses a number of times. The first one, in the preface to the Akedah, Hashem calls to Avram, and Avram says, Hineni. As they're going up to the Akedah, Yitzchak calls to Abraham, and Avram says, Hineni. And then in the postscript of the Akedah, the Malach Hashem calls out to Avram in Hashemayim, and Avram says to him, Hineni. So Avram says Hineni 3 times. Actually, he says it more than that. But I think there's one more time. Maybe not. Maybe it's different conjugation, or maybe not. Maybe that's the 3. But he definitely says it 3 times to 3 different people. And in all of those, what he's saying is Lashon Anava B'Zrizus. Rashi says the same thing on these Hinenis. Why? Because he's saying to God, or to the Malach, or to Yitzchak, this is awful for me. This is not what I want to be doing, but I'm ready to do it anyways. I'm here. I'm ready to fulfill that mission. Then after, Yitzchak uses it. When he gets ready to, come closer to death, he wants to give the brachos to Esav. He calls Esav. Vayomer elav b'ni, says, my son. Vayomer elav hineni. Esav now says to his father, Hineni. Vayovo, the next one, Vayovo avi, Vayomer avi, Vayomer Hineni, mi'ata b'ni. Now when Yaakov approaches him, Yitzchak responds, Hineni. So it's used in conjunction with Avram. Avram uses it twice. It's used in conjunction with Yitzchak. Yitzchak does it once, back to Yaakov. Then Yaakov uses it. Vayomer elav malach Elokim b'chalom Yaakov, Vayomer Hineni. As we saw, Yaakov gets a dream from Hashem in Lavan's house to go back to the land of Israel, and he says, Hineni. He responds by saying, I'm ready to go. Vayomer Yisrael Yosef, now transitioning from Yaakov to Yosef. Vayomer Yisrael Yosef halo achacha orim b'Shechem. This is our pasuk. L'chavesh l'chacha lehem. Vayomer lo Hineni, says Hineni. Then again, Vayomer Elohim liYisrael Meros Halayla, Vayomer Yaakov, Vayomer Hineni. Yaakov one more time responds Hineni as well. So just the summary of all this, you see Avram uses it, Yitzchak uses it, Yaakov uses it, and Yosef uses it. And the final one in the Torah is Moshe Rabbeinu. When Moshe is called to at the sneh, Vayikra elav Elohim mitoch hasneh, Vayomer Moshe Moshe, Vayomer Hineni. So all of the Avos use it, and Moshe uses it, which I think is fascinating. They even have a graph. Look how many times it's used in Tanakh. It's used 8 times in Breshit and once in Shemot. That's the Moshe one, and that's it. Not used again. I think it's a fascinating thing to think about. First of all, in general, the concept of being ready to serve, being ready to put yourself aside, as Hineni is a very powerful statement, but also the fact that it's something that connects all of the Avos and Moshe, and that Moshe gets appended to that list, and Yosef gets appended to that list, is very familiar. Think about the Ushpizin, for example. We have a few more Ushpizin than that. But along with Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, we have Yosef, Moshe. We also have Aaron and David. But at least we have Moshe and Yosef connected to the Avos. The Shalshalos HaAvos kind of goes past the technical Avos, Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, onto Yosef, who has a quasi-status of an Av, and onto Moshe, who also has that quasi-status as well. And here you see that proven again, that they all use the same theme of Hineni, which is not only something that connects them, but also explains why perhaps sometimes in Chazal, they're presented as a package deal, even though Yosef and Moshe aren't necessarily technically part of that stream of the Avos. I think lots to think about in the word Hineni, and when we say Hineni, and when and for what we are ready to serve. Hope you have a wonderful day.